Welcome to today's Explainer. Let's just dive right into it. Today, we're exploring this deeply fascinating, almost kind of spooky psychological concept that I like to call the social mirror. We're going to look really closely at how our own minds literally distort our social reality, making us believe things about our everyday interactions that simply aren't true. We're breaking down the unseen forces that shape exactly how we view ourselves, and honestly, just as importantly, how we view everyone around us.
So, have you ever tripped in a public place? You know that exact feeling, right? That visceral, sudden panic. You stumble, you quickly catch yourself, and you feel absolutely certain that literally everyone in the immediate vicinity just saw it and is secretly laughing at you. You walk away, your face is super flushed, and you just keep replaying the moment in your head for hours, feeling this deep, agonizing sense of public humiliation. But what if I told you that your brain is actively lying to you about that entire experience?
Well, that feeling actually has a name. It's called the spotlight effect. Basically, this is a cognitive bias driven by our completely natural, hardwired human egocentrism. Because we are, quite literally, the center of our own individual universes, we falsely assume that we just have to be the center of everyone else's universe too. We walk around feeling like there's this massive, bright spotlight shining right down on us, highlighting all of our mistakes, our flaws, and our awkward little moments for the entire world to see.
To prove just how incredibly powerful this illusion really is, let's look at a very famous piece of research. Back in the year 2000, researchers for the American Journal of Personality and Social Psychology decided to test this spotlight theory in a pretty hilarious way. They forced university students to put on a highly embarrassing Barry Manilow t-shirt and then asked them to walk right into a crowded room full of their peers. I mean, just imagine the sheer mortification. Think about how you would feel stepping into a room full of people wearing something that is just absolutely humiliating to you.
So before actually sending them in, the researchers asked these totally mortified wearers of the t-shirt to estimate how many people in that crowded room would actually notice their embarrassing shirt. And the students, they boldly estimated that at least 50% of the people in the room would spot the shirt and judge them for it. Half the room. They felt that imaginary spotlight burning so hot.
But here is where the whole illusion shatters. While the students fully expected 50% of the room to notice, in reality, only about 25% of the people actually did. That means the wearers overestimated the attention of the crowd by double. Their cognitive bias had completely manufactured this intensely judgmental audience that, for the most part, simply did not even exist.
So, the absolute crucial takeaway here is this. You are performing for an audience that is largely looking at themselves in the mirror. Honestly, it's a huge relief when you think about it. Most people are just way too preoccupied with their own lives, their own insecurities, and their own imaginary spotlights to ever really notice yours. When you trip in public, the people around you are probably way too busy stressing over their own outfits or running through their own mental to-do lists to even care about your brief little stumble.
But there is actually a pretty wild flip side to this mirror. While we drastically overestimate how much others are noticing us, we are simultaneously and deeply influenced by them. This brings us to a phenomenon known as social proof. Basically, it's this psychological quirk where people copy the actions of others when they're trying to choose how to behave. We might walk around thinking no one is watching us, but man, we are obsessively watching the crowd for behavioral clues.
So why exactly do we do this? Well, it all comes down to what we call the ambiguity trigger. When we find ourselves in a totally ambiguous situation, like when we simply don't know the correct or normal way to act, we experience uncertainty. And our brains absolutely hate uncertainty. So, to resolve that feeling, we immediately look around to the surrounding group. We just assume that if everyone else is doing something, they must possess some inside knowledge about the situation that we don't. We basically assume the crowd is right.
And you actually see this herd behavior weaponized in the real world all the time. Like, did you know theaters will sometimes use planted audience members? They're literally instructed to stand up and clap enthusiastically at pre-arranged times just to start a standing ovation, knowing the rest of the audience will just blindly follow suit. Or think about e-commerce sites. When you're shopping online and you see that little counter popping up that says, hey, 15 other people are buying this product right now. Yeah, that is a direct, calculated manipulation of social proof to make you feel totally comfortable making that purchase.
Now, our intense reliance on visual clues from others leads us to a truly distorted mirror, the halo effect. This is a cognitive bias where the perception of one single positive trait in a person automatically spills over into our judgment of their completely unrelated traits. It creates these massive, glaring blind spots in exactly how we evaluate character.
Because of this halo effect, if we see someone who happens to be well-dressed and really handsome, our brains automatically let that positive visual trait just spill right over. We instantly, without even thinking, assume that this good-looking person is also super smart, incredibly kind, and totally trustworthy. And we do this even if we have absolutely zero objective evidence to back those conclusions up. We literally judge the whole book entirely by its very attractive cover.
And the reason we fall so hard for the halo effect is simply that our brains are constantly looking for a mental shortcut. Evaluating every single, complex aspect of a person takes a ton of time and metabolic energy. So relying on a quick heuristic, like just assuming a well-dressed person is automatically a good person, well, it makes a really complex, unpredictable world feel consistent, safe, and super easy to navigate. But as we've seen, it can lead to terrible decisions. I mean, whether that's hiring the completely wrong person for a job or choosing the wrong partner, all just because they happen to look the part.
So, we really have to start breaking these mirrors. To live a more authentic and logical life, we must actively and deliberately recognize these biases as they are happening. We need to remember that our daily choices are constantly being shaped by a crowd that, ironically enough, isn't even watching us in the first place. Once you truly understand the spotlight effect, social proof, and the halo effect, you can finally pause, take a step back, and make your decisions based on actual facts rather than just psychological illusions.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a powerful question to think about. What is the only judgment that truly matters when that imaginary spotlight finally turns off? The answer, of course, is your very own authentic self-judgment. Please don't let the illusion of constant scrutiny dictate how you live your life. I really hope this explainer sparked your curiosity and helps you spot these sneaky cognitive biases in your own daily routines. Keep questioning what you see in the mirror.